I will never forget the first time I felt the Statue of Liberty staring at me. I know it sounds ridiculous, impossible even, but if you're listening to this, it's because I need you to understand what that monument really hides. That figure, that icon, thousands of tourists photograph every day without suspecting a thing. I used to work as a tour guide in New York. I had taken the ferry to the island dozens of times, repeating the same stories, the same rehearsed jokes for people who only wanted a quick picture. I never looked at her with different eyes. Not until that day. The wind was colder than usual, biting. The water looked gray, almost thick, and the heavy clouds above felt like they were pressing down, trying to crush us. The tourists were restless, some complaining about the weather, others laughing nervously. I tried to act normal, but something about the atmosphere made my skin prickle. As the ferry drew closer, I noticed something that shouldn't have been there. The statue looked cracked. Not the ordinary kind of wear you'd expect from age and weather, but deep fissures, dark and jagged, running across her face and arms, like veins. I told myself it was just a trick of the light, but then I felt it, a weight in my chest, like something unseen had suddenly fixed its attention on me. I glanced at the tourists. No one else seemed to notice. Their laughter, their phones, everything continued as usual. But I could feel it. When we docked and stepped onto the island, I looked up again. Her eyes, one was nothing but an empty hollow, a pit of shadow. But the other, God help me, I swear I saw a faint red glow, like an ember burning inside the stone. I blinked. It was gone. That image haunted me through the entire tour. As we walked around the base, I couldn't shake the sense that her head was shifting ever so slightly, that it was following the crowd. No one else noticed. No one except me. On the staircase inside, the air grew heavy, suffocating. There was a smell, sharp, metallic, like rusted iron, but underneath it lingered something worse, a sweet, nauseating stench, like rotting flesh. My stomach lurched, and I pressed my hand against the copper wall for balance. That's when I felt it. A pulse, a slow, steady throb beneath my fingertips, as if I were touching living flesh. I jerked my hand back immediately, but the echo of the tourists' footsteps forced me to keep climbing. The iron stairs groaned with each step, and beneath the noise I swore I could hear something else, a low murmur, faint, like muffled breathing. When we reached the observation deck, everyone rushed to the windows, marveling at the view of Manhattan. But not me. I couldn't stop staring at the glass. Because in the reflection, just over my shoulder where no one stood, I saw it. An eye, red, burning, watching me. And in that moment, I understood. The statue had chosen me. After that day, I tried to convince myself it had been stress or lack of sleep or just my imagination feeding on shadows. But the truth is, I stopped being the same person. Every night, when I closed my eyes, I saw it. The statue's face, fractured, her stone skin crawling with cracks like black veins, and that burning red eye. Sometimes in my dreams, it blinked. Sometimes it smiled, and soon it wasn't only in my sleep. The first real sign came 2 weeks later. I was on the ferry again, surrounded by tourists, repeating the same lifeless speech I always gave. I felt it before I saw it, the pressure in my chest, the weight of being watched. I looked up at her face, and there it was. That ember again, glowing faintly from the hollow socket. This time it didn't vanish. The tourists were taking photos, laughing, completely unaware. I wanted to shout at them, to point and scream, but some instinct kept me silent. A voice, soft and cold, whispered inside my head, "Don't tell them. They're not chosen. Only you." I nearly collapsed right there. That night, I didn't go home. I wandered through Manhattan, trying to drown the whispers and the noise of the city. But it followed me. In every window's reflection, in the dark corners of alleys, I caught glimpses of that eye staring back, watching, waiting. One evening, after another exhausting tour, I lingered behind while the last of the group left the statue. The island grew silent, empty, the sun sinking behind Manhattan's skyline. That's when I heard it for the first time, faint but clear. A heartbeat, slow, heavy, echoing from within the statue itself. I pressed my ear against the cold copper wall, and then I heard voices, not one, not two, dozens, murmuring, crying, begging. Their words were impossible to decipher, like they were speaking from underwater, but the desperation was unmistakable. And beneath their cries, something deeper. A growl, a breath so vast, so ancient, it vibrated through the metal into my bones. I stumbled back, my legs weak, and that's when the floor beneath me shuddered. Just for a second, but enough to make me fall to my knees. The air smelled like sulfur, like something had exhaled from far below. That night, I couldn't sleep. My apartment felt smaller, suffocating, as if the statue's shadow had stretched across the city just to cover me. When I finally drifted off, I dreamt of being inside her chest, surrounded by pulsating walls of stone, the sound of a massive heart thundering around me. And from the darkness, the eye opened again, closer than ever. When I woke, my sheets were damp, as if I'd been sweating blood. I tried to quit my job the next morning. I told myself I'd never set foot on that island again. But it wasn't that simple, because when I looked in the mirror before leaving for the day, my own eyes didn't look the same. One of them was darker, and deep inside the pupil, I thought I saw a faint, burning red glow. I avoided the statue for as long as I could, but New York has a way of pulling you back into its secrets. The whispers didn't stop. They grew louder each night, like a tide rising in my head. By the end of the week, I wasn't sure which thoughts were mine anymore. I woke up one morning with dirt under my fingernails, my shoes wet with salt water. I didn't remember leaving my apartment, but somehow I had been standing on the ferry dock at dawn, staring across the water at Liberty Island. The statue was calling me back. That night, I gave in. I bribed a guard, told him I'd left something inside during a tour. He didn't care enough to check. The island was empty, silent under the moonlight. The only sound was the distant lap of the waves. But the closer I walked toward her, the stronger the heartbeat became. Slow, heavy, patient. Inside, the air was suffocating, thicker than before. The walls weren't just cold metal anymore. They were warm, damp. My footsteps echoed, but beneath them I heard breathing, something enormous exhaling through the cracks in the copper skin. I climbed the spiral staircase again, though every step fought against me. The smell was unbearable now. Rust, blood, and rotting flesh all tangled together. My vision blurred, my body trembling, but I couldn't stop. When I reached the crown, the whispers erupted into screams. Not around me, inside me. Voices begging for release, shrieking in languages older than words. My skull felt like it would split apart. And then, silence. Total silence. I looked out at Manhattan, its lights flickering like dying candles. And then I saw it, her reflection in the glass. The cracks in her face spread wider, the stone skin splitting open, and beneath it wasn't copper. It was flesh, thick, pulsating, glistening as if alive. And the eye, the burning eye, it opened wider than ever before, and this time it wasn't just watching me, it was inside me. I felt it settle behind my own eyes, burning, rooting itself deep into my skull. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. My body no longer belonged to me. My hands pressed against the glass as a voice spoke, not in my head this time, but everywhere. Through the walls, the floor, the air itself. You are mine now. The copper walls groaned. The entire statue shook, dust raining from the ceiling as if something beneath the island was waking. I felt it, a colossal movement under my feet, like a beast stretching after centuries of sleep. I don't remember how I left. Maybe I never did. All I know is that I woke up on my apartment floor at dawn, my hands raw and bleeding, my chest aching with every heartbeat. And when I looked in the mirror, I understood. Both of my eyes burned red. The statue doesn't just hide something within, it spreads.
Subscribe to Horror Story